Sister Adriana. The question which I think is really important for us to think about is in the Quran, Allah says numerous times that we must believe in Allah and the last day, Yawm al-Akhirah. And as we are not blind followers, it requires us to ponder over why that is. What is the purpose of requiring us to believe, for instance, in the last day? What if we didn't? What if we just did good deeds and it didn't matter if we had belief in the last day or not? What difference would that make? What if we don't believe in God, but we did righteous deeds? Then what difference would that make? Because even if there is a day of judgment, even if Allah does exist, and we spend our lives undertaking righteous deeds, then surely we will be recompensed accordingly, and we will achieve the fruits of those actions anyway. Salam, brother Adam. So I think it's a really important question to ask ourselves, and also to be able to respond to if we are asked. I don't think I have ever been asked a question, but I wouldn't be surprised if at some point I'm asked that question. So now let me just share with you a verse which gives rise to this reference and therefore this question. So bear with me while I share with you. Yes, here we go. Right, hopefully you can see my screen here. This is Surah Al-Baqarah, so that's chapter 2, verse 62. Okay, and here, I'm just trying to sort my keyboard out here, I apologize. Here Allah is saying, as you can see, okay, Inna ladhina amanu, okay, those who believe. Let me read the translation for the to respect the time. Those who believe, and those who are Jewish, and the Christians, and the Sabians. Okay, now let's not focus on this first part of the verse for today, but this next part. Man amana billahi, any who believe in God, wal yawmil akhiri, wa amila salihan, and the last day, wal yawmil akhiri, and act righteously, wa amila salihan. Falahum ajruhum inda rabbihim wala khawfun alayhim wala hum yahzanun, will have their reward with their Lord, and they have nothing to fear, nor will they grieve. So the formula for success is summarized here, that those people who believe in God and the last day and act righteously, they will have nothing to fear. In other words, they are the people who will be successful. Okay, so why is it? And it's the first two elements that I want to focus on: the belief bit, the belief in God, and belief in the last day. And I've been thinking about this, and I wanted to share my thoughts with all of you, if I may. Brother Jaden Zed, just saw your question. This is not on today's topic, so let's stay on topic. Otherwise, this session could get very long. So if you don't mind, I'm going to leave that one for today, if you don't mind. So the first question is, as I said, the first question, why is it that we must believe? Let's start with why we believe in the last day, okay? Okay. Right. So now my view on this is as follows. If you believe in the last day, I think there are two things that come to my mind. One is that life is finite. Life has an end. My life has an end point. I'm not going to live forever. There will come an end to my existence. There will come an end to the deeds which I have undertaken, be they good or bad, good and bad, rather. So I should not assume that I can carry on. I have to think about what I will do with my life. It forces me to think of purpose, forces me to think about what's the purpose of my life? Why am I living? What is the aim? It gives me the requirement to define an aim for my life. Can you see? That's one of the things which you only get truly if you know that your life is finite. Now, it's not difficult to believe in that because that is something which we see. It is something which we can observe in our time on this earth. We see people come and pass, people die. So it's not difficult to believe in that particular point. I think the second point you get to believe, which God describes in the Qur'an, which you would not otherwise be able to observe, is that after you die, there is a day of judgment, a day that your deeds, your actions are judged. There will be accounting. You will be held accountable for your deeds. Now, this is something which is not obvious to us. It's not something that we have seen. We have not witnessed this. So you only attain this belief through the revelations of the Creator. It is only that the Creator tells us that there will be a day of judgment and that we will be judged, that we can believe in this. So now, why? Okay, let's just say that we then do believe in the day of judgment. Why? And God has revealed this to us. And we can come on to how you might attain this belief without having witnessed it. But why is God informing us that only those people who believe that there is a day of judgment, that they will be successful? Why do we need to know that? Why? Let me know in the comment section. Let me know if you have any thoughts as to why God is saying that we must believe in the day of judgment if we are to be successful, as we saw in 262. And here's my version of it, or my thinking about this. One of those things is that when we understand and believe, truly believe, that we will be judged after we have died, after our finite lives have ended, there's a particular mindset that we will have as we live our day-to-day lives. A mindset that our actions are being recorded. A mindset that, if you like, we are being watched. Think about in your day-to-day lives aspects that you can witness. For instance, when you're driving on the road, if you know, if you can witness, if you believe that the road cameras are watching you, and that if you break the laws, you'll pay a penalty, you will drive within the laws. So knowing that you'll be judged in relation to how you are driving, you drive more carefully. And so similarly in our lives, in the path, the journeys that we are on in our lives more generally, if we have belief that we'll be judged on the last day, then we will live our lives, or aim to live our lives, in the way that we are required to. For instance, and Sister Adriana has made a point here, it's going to give us a mindset, form a mindset such that we will live righteous lives. So it is the belief that we'll be judged that we're forming this mindset. And we will not be believing that we will be judged if we do not believe in the last day. So can you see these are knock-on effects. These are all linked. So number one, why believe in the last day, and by virtue of that, the day of judgment, is that it allows us to form a specific mindset. And that's why we have to tell other people, we have to educate our younger generation, our children, that there is a last day and you will be judged, so they can start forming the right mindset. I hope that's clear. Okay, next. The other thing I think is that it allows you to create a belief that there is a path. It allows you to understand that there is a path to be trodden in your lives in order to be judged positively, in order to attain the outcome that you require. Brother Voice Awakener, thank you very much for your kind comment on Facebook. And Brother Alam Shah, Walaikum Assalam, on Facebook. So, okay, so it allows you to believe that there is a path. It allows you to believe that there is a Sirat al-Mustaqim, a straight path that is going to help you to attain positive judgment on that last day. And then if you do that, it should make you inquire, research into what is that straight path. It should give you that motivation to find that right path and stay on it. So this is all happening because you believe in the last day. To see that. Another reason why I think we are required to believe in the last day is that we get a sense of fairness. You see, in this life, we hear many times and we feel many times that life is unfair. That, we are being subjected to injustice or injustices. We do feel that because mankind has formed a system on earth such that injustices take place on a daily basis. So by believing in the last day and the judgment, it brings a sense that there will be fairness. Ultimately, people will be accountable. The people who are unjust, they will be accounted. They will pay for it. And those people who are sticking to the straight path, no matter what, they will get their due rewards. As God says in this verse we looked at, chapter 2, verse 62. This is the promise from our Lord. So the sense of fairness, I think, is another reason we have to believe in the Day of Judgment. And I think the last thing I would say about this, and we'll come on to why we have to believe in Allah as well, which we saw was another important criteria for success in the hereafter. The last thing is that if we do not believe that there is something else happening after we die in this, after our finite lives have expired, if we do not believe that there is a day of judgment which leads to something else, the hereafter, then our lives here will be aimless. Aimless. We'll potentially live an aimless life because we will think, this is it. Well, we have however many years on average, 80, 90, it could be far less. There's a probability it could be more than 90 years for a few people, but it's in the context of time, it's very, very limited, our lives. The time scale which stretches our lives. And if this is it, then you could live an aimless life. You can live a life where you undertake deeds which only fulfill your own selfish desires. You can live a life where you're instilling injustices on people if it just benefits you, even for the short term. It's aimless. You might do some good, but you'll also do a lot of bad because it doesn't matter. As long as you are enjoying some pleasures. And how many times does God talk about in the Qur'an the risk, the instinct in many people to simply enjoy the pleasures of this short-term life, this aimless life? So if we do not believe in the last day and the fact that there is judgment and that therefore there is a hereafter, which is based on the judgment, then you're going to live an aimless life potentially. So that's my thinking based on what I've observed and learned from the Quran as to why we must believe in the last day, Yawm al-Akhirah. And Brother Sayyid Abdullah Mujtahidi has shared a very interesting comment here. Oh, in fact, I'm going to hide this for now because this is going to be relevant to the next part here. I apologize, Brother Sayyid Abdullah. So that's why we must believe in the last day. And do drop your comments in and let me know what you think. Because the next thing I want to talk about is why we must believe that there is a God. Why I believe in a God. So let me just put this up again. I'm going to go back to 262 again. Because that's where we started. Here we go again. So we're talking about those who believe. And remember, we're looking here into the definition of what we must believe in. Okay, before we ask why. Those who believe, and those who are Jewish and the Christians and the Sabians. But we're going to leave that bit of this to another session. Any who believe in God, okay, Amana Billahi, and the last day, wal yawm al-akhiri, and act righteously, wa amila salihan, okay, will have their reward with their Lord. They have nothing to fear, nor will they grieve. So this is the success factor. They will have their reward with their Lord. They have nothing to fear. They have nothing to grieve about. They will be successful. So we've already looked at and discussed, okay, why we must believe in the last day. What is the reason that the last day is going to give us that success? The second part of today's session is why we must believe in Allah. Why believe in Allah? Why believe in God? Now, some people might say, "Ooh, of course you must believe in God," but we're not blind followers here. We have the freedom of choice to believe or not believe. Why should we believe in God? I mean, look at this question, which I think is a very good question, which has come from Brother Alam Shah on Facebook. Thank you, Brother Alam Shah. How would God judge atheists who are righteous and do good deeds? And this is the point. This is the point I'm making. Why must you believe in the last day in God? So I've already talked about why I believe we have to believe in the last day and how that affects the deeds that you undertake in this life. How it affects whether you're on the right path or the wrong path, your mindset, the aims you set for yourself. Okay, and they affect the good deeds, and therefore the way they're going to be judged if they're atheists. Okay, so those deeds. But the question is, why should you believe in God, which is at the center of the disbelief of atheists? So why must you believe in God? So now let me just share here what my good brother Sayyid Abdullah Mustahdi shared on our YouTube channel just now. Thank you for your comment. So believe in Allah means acknowledgement of Allah's commands and laws, and then work accordingly to enter a period where we can meet our consequences of our deeds. If we did righteous deeds, then we will have a phase or period in future which will provide beneficial results. If we do wrong deeds, then we will encounter ill results. Very interesting. Thank you, Brother Sayyid. So let me put this on the table. I believe in God. Now, when we just spoke about believing in the Day of Judgment and therefore the hereafter, as I said, we've not witnessed it. We're not going to witness it in our life. It's not something we can observe. The only way we can form belief in the last day and the hereafter, the judgment day, is through the scriptures, the revelations that God has transmitted to us through messengers. It is the only way. Now, we spoke about the logic behind it, but you still only get there through the scriptures rather, the revelations, the ayat. You only get there. Now, coming to this question, this one here on the screen, why believe in God? Because the revelations came from God. So if you do not attain belief that there is a God, you cannot believe that God has revealed something to us, anything to us, including the revelations describing the last day, the day of judgment, the hereafter. So everything we just spoke about in terms of believing in the last day and why we must believe in that, what it does to our actions and our mindset and the way we live this life, you wouldn't even get there unless you believed in God, because we only get that understanding through the revelations of God. Islam, Brother Sayyid. Can you see the connection here? You have to believe in God in order to have the possibility of the belief in the last day. So they're connected. It is only through the belief in God that you can believe that we have received revelation from God, that there is a day of judgment? And otherwise, if you do not believe in that, you basically believe, you're essentially believing in randomness. You're believing that there is no order. If you do not believe in a creator, you do not believe in an order, a divine order. You're believing in randomness. Do you see? You're believing in aimless living. Now, of course, you must ask the question, okay, that's logical, but how do we get to believe in God? How do we get to believe in God? How do we move away from blind belief in God? But let me just share this this comment first of all before we get to that. This is from Miss Ali on YouTube. So why believe in God? Because everywhere around us there's intelligent design and a plan. Therefore, a designer and a planner. And then the ever-present question one has, even as a child, is why are we here? That's a lovely, lovely comment. Thank you for that. So, blind belief is wrong. We must not blindly believe that there is a God. There has to be a rational argument, a very clear logical rationale that you truly believe in with your heart that there is a God, not because your father or your mother told you, or you heard that at the mosque, or you read that somewhere, or you heard that in religious studies at school. That's not belief in God. There needs to be something that gives you that logic and that utter, unmovable belief that there is a God. So one of the ways you do that, what actually at the root of it, I believe, is thinking. We have got to think. If you do not think, you will have no alternative but to blindly believe in something. So we must think. That's the first point. And one of the points to think over is exactly what Miss Ali said here. That we must think about, observe about the intelligent design and plan in which this universe is captured. This entire universe is working in perfect harmony. There's a perfect design. There are no imperfections. So if there is a design, there must be a designer. If there's a plan, there must be a planner. Exactly as Miss Ali said. That is God. That creator is God. And for me, when I started pondering over and thinking about whether there is a God, that is one point I pondered over. But there is something else. The Qur'an, scriptures. One of the aspects of scripture, revelations. So in my case, I study the Qur'an. One of the things you find in the Qur'an is the proof that there is a God. So that is one of the purposes of the revelations. So when you ponder over the revelations, So for those who ponder over the Qur'an, for instance, those individuals find within the Qur'an the proof that yes, there is a God. That proof comes in the form of the way the scriptures define or give us some signs about this perfect design that's been created. And then when we observe it, think, oh my God, yes. Did I think of it like that? There must be a creator of that design. When mankind discovers new things and then you realize that that was contained within the scriptures, which were revealed thousands of years ago, you think, oh my, wow, this was revealed so long ago by a creator, and we've just discovered it now through science, our own scientific discoveries. There must be a creator. These revelations must be the truth. They really are from a being, an existence. So pondering over the Quran itself gives you this utter belief in the existence of God. Now, this is a very good point. I'm going to share with you something that Brother Sayyid has shared. This is really important. The first thing to understand is, what does it mean by believing or accepting God? Believing in God means to know his attributes and follow his principles and commands. And this is the way your belief in God manifests itself. You begin, and again, for me, this has come through the study and pondering over the Quran, is the understanding of God's attributes. And these are described in the Quran. I apologize, by the way, you probably hear there are fireworks going on outside. Which I can't control, so I do apologize. I hope it's not disturbing this session too much. Okay, going back to attributes. Through the Quran, you begin to identify and understand the attributes of God. And when you begin to understand the attributes of God, the belief in those attributes, they manifest themselves. When the belief in the understanding and belief of those attributes enters your heart, you truly begin to believe in God. And then you begin to follow his guidance. And here is a link as well, because if you follow his guidance, that is a sign that you have true belief in God. That is what I believe Brother Sayyid is saying here. If you follow his guidance, if you believe that there is a last day, a judgment day, then your belief in God, there is an indication that it has entered your heart. There are many people who claim to believe in God, and they probably believe that there is an existence, but they don't truly believe because they're not able to act on the guidance of God. They don't truly believe they're going to be judged and that they will experience the consequences of their deeds in future. They don't truly believe that. It hasn't entered their hearts. This is also a very good point. Believing in God is acknowledging that a higher power exists and that we need the guidance of God. We need the guidance of our Creator. That's a very good point. You see, we all err. Mankind errs. It makes errors. It falls off the path. It does good deeds, but it does bad deeds as well. And so, and sometimes mankind doesn't know what's right, what's wrong. Sometimes it just doesn't know. And so acceptance in God is acceptance that we need God's guidance. Thank you for that, sister. Sharing another comment here by Brother Sayyid. Here Allah means king who will rule upon us through his edicts and messengers. Ilah, Malik, absolute owner of everything in the universe. That is the real owner of matter and non-matter. Yes, this is what Allah is. This is the definition of Allah. He's the Ilah. He's the Malik. He owns everything. So I do hope that that has been worth pondering over. Certainly for me, it has been. I've been thinking about this. I've thought about this a while ago, and my pondering, I suppose, goes into different levels at different times. But I do believe this is a really important question that we must always ask ourselves in terms of, why we must believe in God and why we must believe in the last day. And I did it the other way around. I first spoke about why we must believe in the last day, but I thought that was important because the connection, in my mind at least, goes from second to first. That if you get to believe in the last day, then you must also believe in God. Because it is through God's revelations that we know that there is a last day, Yawm al-Akhirah. So in my mind, I've connected it from second to first. So I don't know if there are any other comments that you would like to share or any questions you would like to ask. Otherwise, we're getting close to wrapping up. It's been a very, very interesting session for me. Thank you for your comments. You've been very generous with your comments, as always. Again, it's been a good learning opportunity for me as well. I know some of you have been asking me some questions which I've not responded to because they were on different topics. I wanted to keep it quite contained and quite tight in relation to what we're discussing today. Inshallah, we will continue with different topics. Do share this video. It's going to be posted on YouTube and on Facebook. I think it's really important that people, regardless of which faith they follow, this needs to be shared with people. This is about people. This is about everybody. So please do share this message. It doesn't take that much effort to share this message with other people you know, people you love, people you feel might need some guidance, people you think ask this question about why you believe in God in the last day. Do share this message with them. And click on like, because the algorithms on social media such as YouTube and Facebook such that if you click on like, which takes less than a second, then those social media platforms are willing to share it with other people as well, put it in front of other people. And the wider we can share this message, the better. And there's this one comment also I'll share with you, which Brother Alam Shah has shared on Facebook. I know people who believed in religion just to escape God's punishment in the hereafter. Yeah, it's an interesting one. To escape God's... In other words, they believed that there was God. There is God, rather. So they believe in religion to escape God's punishment. In order to do that, they must have believed that God exists. That's interesting. And here's a question, a comment actually, from Miss Ali on YouTube again. FYI, check out Omar Zain's video, Message to Flat Earthers. Okay, thank you. And here's a comment from Brother Adam Aglim. If we read Quran translations carefully, we will know that it is not from a human being. It is from God. And there are promises that God has made for us that will come to pass. Alhamdulillah, that's a really, really, really good comment. That by reading the Quran, and this is consistent with what I was explaining earlier as well, that when you study the Quran, when you ponder over the Quran, you realize that it is from God. It cannot be written by a human being. Sister Adriana has gone to order a pizza, I believe, according to her comment on YouTube. I hope it's nice. So, yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about today, really. Again, I didn't have much planned, but I wanted to share my thoughts with you, and it's a pleasure to obtain your thoughts as well, as always. Do spend some time. This is a message for everybody. Spending time to study the Quran, it changes your outlook of life. It shows you the truth. It opens your eyes to the truth. It connects you with your Creator. It connects you with other people. It connects you with nature. And that's my own experience. And whilst people say it is very difficult to get time to spend studying the Quran, I feel that is an excuse that we give ourselves. We convince ourselves that it's difficult and we don't have time. But this is a message, this is guidance from the existence that created you. So why would you not spend time to understand that message? Think about it. Think about the time you spend entertaining yourself through multimedia and TV. Think about the time you spend reading other books. Think about the time for those who have the privilege of going to school or going through higher education at university. Think about the time you spend researching various topics, learning, gaining knowledge, spreading knowledge. How do you create the time and motivation for that? There is time. There is time. You do have time. All of us have time, but very limited time. We're not going to be here forever. So I think we will leave it at that. And thank you again, all of you who shared your comments. Miss Ali, I see we've got Saki. We have Brother Sayyid Abdullah. We have Brother Adam, Sister Adriana, Brother Mesut, Brother Sayyid. And then on Facebook, we have a few people, Brother Alam. I think we had one or two others who have now dropped off as well. Brother Farouk, Voice Awakener. Thank you all for your support and your kind comments. And I know some of you are always encouraging me and providing kind comments on the videos we're posting on the YouTube channel. And may God bless you all. Peace be upon you and your loved ones. Look after yourselves, look after your communities, and let's all connect with God and understand and undertake righteous deeds. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum.